Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Davin James. I'm glad to be here with all of you guys here today. If you're new here, please remember to like, subscribe and comment to my channel, as it helps a bunch with the YouTube algorithm. It shows YouTube that you like my content, you wish to see more of my content. That way then YouTube will start promoting my content a bit more, which would be very nice. Just a quick reminder, I also post twice a week on this channel, so if you like what you see, then please stick around. And with that being said, let's get on with today's episode, shall we? I did a video on this writer's strike that's been going on in Hollywood, and last week negotiations came to a closing. Both studios and writers of us, from all different parts of the world, were happy with what they was able to negotiate in terms of their deals. I'm not really sure what went into those deals for the most part, other than the use of AI. They get protected over the use of AI. They get residuals, from the project that they work on, and they get like healthcare stuff. So all those bunch of different things that the writers were able to negotiate with studios. And of course, this writer's strike had been going on since the summer. I think since May. So it lasted for a fair bit. So I'm happy to see now that the writer's strike is finally over and that work can be done on future projects. Like, I know Netflix is now prioritizing Stranger Things Season 5, which is the final season for that show. Warner Bros. Is starting to continuing to work on The Batman Part 2, directed by Matt Reeves. Their HBO department is starting to work on The Last of Us Season 2, as well as Euphoria Season 3. Writers are preparing to come back to work, which is really great. Now, however, that does not mean the actors can go back to work as of yet, because they got their own strike going on at the moment, and nothing can be done until they have met their negotiations, both with the studio and what the and what the actors feel is acceptable from their point of view. So what I thought I would do today, because negotiations are continuing, and there was a meeting this just past Monday, which would be the 2nd of October? Yeah, 2nd of October. So what I thought I would do is talk about what exactly went on with that meeting, in a sense, in terms of what this article is providing me in terms of information. So sit back, relax, and let's actually get on with what they were talking about. Okay, so it says here that Sag-AFTRA and Hollywood top companies are ploughing ahead with negotiations. The Performance Union and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers released a joint statement on Monday, noting that they just met for a 4-day bargaining session, which will resume talks on Wednesday the 4th of October, which is the day. So I'm very interested to see what comes out of the meeting today. I don't think it will come to a close by today, but, fingers crossed. Monday marked the first time that the parties had been back at the negotiations table since the actors' strike, which began in mid-July. Some of the people who were involved in these meetings were some of the industry's biggest leaders. So, for example, we got Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos, Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav, Disney CEO Bob Iger, and NBC Universal Studio Group Chairman and Chief Content Officer Donna Langley, who returned to the bargaining table with the SAG-AFTRA on Monday after the same group helped expedite the Writers Guild of America talks in late September. In charge of PACE, the CEOs met with the union on the labourer group's home turf at the SAG-AFTRA national headquarters on Wilshire Boulevard. That sounds quite a mouthful. Without any federal mediators present. When negotiations were initially broken off on the 12th of July, the two sides have begun meeting at the AMPTP offices in Sherman Oaks, Galleria, and have brought in federal meditation and consultation service professionals for 1 day. The leaders present in the room raised hopes around the business that the reviewed Sag-AFTRA negotiations could move quickly from this point on. He is hoping. Those expectations will likely not be quelled by Monday's joint statement from both management and Labour, which is a positive sign, usually signalling at least some measure of cohesion with the negotiations room. But still, Monday's round of negotiations occurred more than 80 days into the actor strike, as Sag-AFTRA and the AMPTP still have many outstanding issues to resolve, such as wage increases, a revenue sharing proposal on streaming titles, and regulations for AI remain top priorities for all the union that have yet to be fully addressed. The union has also published an array of smaller items that have not yet settled with studios, like increases to health plan and pension contribution, the size of relocation expenses, and whether performance capture work can be covered under the union's TV theatrical contract. In a separate message to members on Monday's SAG's negotiation, the community urged performers to not let up. The community continued to keep turning out in full force on our picket lines, and as solidarity events around the country let the AMPTP hear your voices loud and clear. It makes a difference. You will make a difference. The union leaders also said that the group will remain on strike until as long as it takes. I realise I said quite a lot in that article, so some of it I probably butchered. I do apologise. I'm trying my best to give as much information that is on that article as possible and try to, make it clear as much as possible, if that makes sense. But yeah, so certainly negotiations are similar to the writers' negotiations for the most part. Like AI, that's a big topic. And recently AI came into conversation again because recently someone made an AI version of Robin Williams, the late Robin Williams, for some weird reason. Another one was made out of Tom Hanks, again, for some weird reason. Nothing to do with movies as a way. It was just a random thing that came out on the internet. It was put on the internet for some random strange reason. And it goes to show you how dangerous AI can really be. And I understand actors wanting to be like, no, I know, I don't want this computer taking over my work. Yeah, sure. It's helpful in some ways. Yeah, probably. But at the same time, this is, something I've been doing for a living. This is how I put food on a plate. This is how I keep a roof over my family's heads. This is how I'm able to pay the bills. So I don't want this computer, no matter how good it can be, taking over what I've been busting my ass for a long period of time for. I do this because I love it. I'm paraphrasing here, but and another thing is residuals. And basically what I mean by residuals is that when a project gets released, such as a movie or a television property, most actors do not receive any sort of payment from a television perspective, like Friends, Stranger Things, Last of Us, Euphoria, whatever it may be. Most actors do not see a paycheck from the amount of times a show has been streamed on the network during replays, or how many times an episode has been aired on TV, whatever it may be. Most actors do not see a dime from that, and they feel, some feel that way anyway, they feel it's quite wrong, and they feel like they deserve, because they worked on that show, so they feel like they deserve, a pound or two, basically, from working on that property. And which is a fair compliment, which is a fair, statement to me, hey, I worked on this show. Yes, I got paid to work on this show, during the process of the filming and whatnot. And movies as well. Let's not forget movies. Like, I don't know how much an actor makes from the box office perspective. Like, such as like a Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert Downey Jr., Cillian Murphy, you know, a director like Christopher Nolan. I don't know how much they get from like a from a box office perspective. Like Oppenheimer made a shit ton of money. It was a giant hit around the world. But I'm not sure how much of that, in terms of residuals, any of the actors see or have seen, or how much, you know, the people behind the scenes see of it as well, in terms of the director and the producer and whatever else. So I'm always been interested in this sort of thing because I love movies. I love entertainment in general. And I feel like because now we've got such a wide vast of information out there, such as, you know, articles such as Hollywood Reporter and Deadline and whatnot, who cover stories, we got so much information at our fingertips if we want to find out, you know, if we want to find out what's going on in terms of these strikes. If we're interested, that is. Many people don't care, which is perfectly fine. I'm not particularly bothered by it, but I'm interested to know what's going on exactly and how often, not often, but how long these negotiations could possibly take. Because I want to see actors back in work. I want to see new properties on screen or on my TV screen. I want these actors to get a fair, you know, a fair, decent amount of what they earn from these properties. I want them to have security, financial backing, whatever it may be. Like, many people feel like, oh, well, they get paid for doing this, blah, 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 this movie, this TV show. They should be happy with what they got. Some people think that's fair. Some people think, well, you're talking rubbish. Like, you know, regardless of what they work on or what they don't work on, if they are entitled to residuals, I don't know how you go about that, but if you are entitled to residuals or protection from AI, then you should definitely go about doing that. You know, regardless of what people might say about that, I think that's definitely an option that people should look into. And this is what's going on now. It's crazy. Like, this is all new to me. Like, the last time Hollywood went on a strike was like 2007, 2008. And at that time I was still in high school, so I didn't really follow the whole movie business or movie world in that sort of way back then. So when I learned about it, like, it went on from like 2007 to like 2008. I was like, wow, that's a really long time. And some people would feel like, well, aren't the businesses, like, aren't the studios losing money on this? In some ways, yeah, they are. Like, with a writer's strike and actor's strike, for as long as it goes on, they could lose money. Absolutely, because nothing's in production. You're losing money because nothing's going on. But also, I found this out through podcasts and whatnot. This is also their sort of evil plan to cut some content that they don't actually want to keep producing, you know, on their networks or on their, you know, picture deals or whatever it may be. So like, if they got a TV show they don't want to really keep going, they can like, oh well, we'll cut it within the strikes, and that would save us some money in a sense. I don't know how it all works from a business perspective, but that's what I was told, or that was what I was informed. So that's rather interesting. But yeah, I hope things come to a close really quickly. This sort of thing is a headache and a half. Like, what can actors do, what they can't do, what they can say, what they can't say. You know, it's all crazy. Like, I didn't realise how much when I actually went into this sort of thing until recently, until I started following like this stuff more regularly, so I hear it more on podcasts and whatnot. Then I was like, okay, so this is more like stricter than I actually thought. So like, if an actor was to go on a TV show, like now, for example, or even do an interview, they can't talk about any current project if they're part of the Sag-AFTRA, you know, whatever you want to call it, the Sag-AFTRA company or group. Yeah, it's called a group. So if they were to talk about a current project or whatever, or review a movie that's not theirs to own, I believe. You might have to fact check me on a lot of this. I'm probably speaking gibberish for a lot of people. But they would then lose their membership and whatever comes with that. I don't know what comes with it, but apparently that's what would happen. So they want to be fair to it, and they want to be treating it as seriously as possible, which I understand. But I'm excited to see this over and done with once and for all, because there's so many big properties, like so many big projects coming up there the rest of this year, and also we got next year as well. And these movies are going to need promotion for the most part. Like, you got some big movies coming out. You got, like, for Warner Bros., they got Aquaman 2 coming out later this year. They got Willy Wonka, or Wonka as it's called now, coming out next year. They got Dune Part 2 coming out next year. So they're going to want to heavily promote that movie so people go and see it in the cinema. And if these actor strikes and whatnot continue, then that's going to have a negative impact on these movies. And therefore then people will probably not want to go and see these movies, or they will have no idea that these movies actually exist. Because not everybody follows the movie bubble as I do, or many other people do on the internet and whatnot. But like I said, hopefully things happen. Everyone puts their heads together. They come up with a fair deal, give them what they want. Protection from AI, residuals, better pay, healthcare, whatever it may be. Just give it to them, regardless of how much it's going to cost you. Like, you're fine, you'll be fine. You're a studio. You probably got loads of money. You're good. You don't need to worry. It might put a little bit of a dent in your pocket, but you will cover from that pretty quickly, I reckon. But I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on this subject. What do you think of it? Do you think, this is a little bit too... No, let me rephrase that. Do you think actors should get what they negotiate for in terms of better treatment, protection from AI, better pay, better working conditions, or whatever it may be? Are you looking forward to to finding out this strike is completely over with? Do you have an anticipated movie or TV show that's possibly coming out soon? Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I enjoy talking about this stuff, even though it's completely out of my wheelhouse. Many of you are probably thinking, what the hell is this guy been talking about for the last however long I've been recording this episode? But I try and put a lot into these episodes. I try to express myself clearly. Not always possible. But again, I try my best to give you guys some enjoyment and some entertainment. And with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.